Welcome to Facts TV News, where everything is true. Family desperate to locate missing Clarendon woman. The family of 44-year-old Anne-Marie Ingrid Messam of Palmer's Cross in Clarendon is desperately seeking the public's assistance to locate her. The Maple police confirmed that Messam, a sales representative, was reported missing on her birthday on November 4. Her mother, Pauline Walters, told reporters that while the family has been at a hook since Messam's mysterious disappearance, they are clinging to hope. According to Walters, she was made aware of her daughter's disappearance via a phone call from overseas. The person called me and said, if me no hear say them kill Ingrid, because them sent some money to her and she didn't collect it, Walters said. Quiz on why the person would suggest her daughter was killed, Walters said she didn't know. Following the phone call, Walters said she went to Messam's school, where she lived with her husband and 2 of 3 children. Messam's husband confirmed that she left for work on the morning of November 4, but did not return home. Walters said she is yet to contact her daughter's employer, stating that she is unable to disclose the reason. I know something is wrong, because anywhere she's going, she tells her mother, so she would call me by now, said Walters about her daughter, who also has a 3-year-old. Walters said the family's woes are compounded by the fact that members could not revel in the usual festivity for Messam's birthday on November 4. She said Messam's siblings are having a hard time coping with the uncertainties surrounding their sister's whereabouts. Anyone knowing the whereabouts of Anne-Marie Ingrid Messam is asked to contact the Maple police at 876-986-2208, Messam's family at 876-799-1605, 119 or the nearest police station. Bloody altercation at St. James School leaves student staff traumatized. A 5-year-old boy says he will not return to school on Wednesday after witnessing the stabbing of a father by his teen son. The child, a student of Eagles Wing Preparatory in Bogue, Montego Bay, St. James, said the blood from the wound received by the man, who is reportedly a pastor, stained his shirt and his pants. His father had to leave his shirt with the school for evidence. The youngster, who spoke to reporters in the presence of his parents Tuesday evening, was traumatized by the experience. I am scared. I saw the 2 big men. They were fighting and the blood was all over me. Staying up with all of those blood. I was crying. I wanted to go home, he said. His father said he and his son's mother received a message from the school about 12:24 p.m. Tuesday alerting them that there was a traumatic incident on the compound and they should pick up their children immediately. According to him, the attacker was a 17-year-old past student who he said should not have been allowed on the compound. He accused the school of being negligent. The security was reportedly in the lunchroom, so the gate was left unattended, he claimed. The father says that although the Ministry of Education is sending grief counselors to the school, they would not be enough for his son. When we went to the school, our son was shirtless, and other remnants of the blood were wiped from his face. There was blood in his ears and his hands and pants. According to him, children were being picked up by their parents and they were screaming. He said that he raised concerns in the school's WhatsApp group, and according to him, the principal replied that he should be empathizing with the institution. If this trauma affects him for years to come, what do we do? He has an injury to his foot, which seemed like he was running away from the incident. Based on my understanding, my son was very close to the incident. The school's principal said there was never a problem with the past students who she said visit the school from time to time. The father asked me to call him if his son came over, not knowing there was something behind it. I called him. He came to the school and grabbed him in the shirt. I told the father I would not be allowing that behavior in the school, said the principal. The father was the aggressor, she revealed, adding that as much as his son tried to prevent the altercation, the father persisted. She said she is as traumatized as her staff and students because even when the father was unable to access his son, he went into his car to get a pickaxe to do further damage. The 17-year-old was taken into custody. An injured father was taken to hospital by the school security. SOEs will always be needed, says Prime Minister Andrew Holness. Prime Minister Andrew Holness said there will always be a need for the imposition of states of public emergency as the government is committed to categorizing crime, particularly murder.
Excellency, the Governor General, the Most Honorable Sir Patrick Allen, declared 2 states of public emergency. one in the entire parish of St. Anne, Clarendon, St. Catherine, and specified areas in the parishes of Kingston and St. Andrew. The other is in the entire parishes of St. James, Westmoreland, and Hanover. The government, after careful consideration on the advice of the security chiefs, decided to advise the Governor General that it was necessary and indeed appropriate to declare states of public emergency in these areas. Since the end of the last state of emergency, we have seen, unfortunately, an increase in criminal activities in these areas and indeed a threat to property and, in some instances, public disorder. Judgment of the Constitutional Court made it clear that the purpose for which the SOE had been imposed was a legitimate purpose. That is, the SOE can be used for the purpose for which the government is using them. However, the court took issue with the emergency powers regulations under which Mr. Clark had been detained. Those regulations were made in 2018. The emergency powers regulations that will be in effect for this new declaration of the SOEs are different from the regulations that the court took issue with. We have taken a lot of care and diligence to go through the various issues raised by the court and have made changes to address them. The other issue I want to address is the misconception that persons who are detained under the SOE can be detained indefinitely. Nothing could be further from the truth. Under the emergency powers regulations now in place, the Emergency Powers Review Tribunal, chaired by members appointed by the Chief Justice of Jamaica from among persons qualified to be appointed as a judge of the Supreme Court, they must review the cases brought before them in order for any person to be detained for more than 7 days. So this notion that some are trying to paint that the SOEs allow the security forces to scrape up or net fish and detain persons arbitrarily without charge indefinitely, it is absolutely not true. We are entering the Christmas season, and I want all Jamaicans to be able to enjoy the Christmas season, free from the threat of violence. We have some really serious criminal threats facing us, and we have to use all the powers at our disposal. I believe Jamaica understands that while the government is trying to improve the legislative framework, improve the capacity of our police to be able to execute their jobs with greater technology, greater efficiency, greater training, in the interim, we have to ensure that our homicide rate and the level of violence that citizens experience on a daily basis does not get to the point where it threatens the collapse of the state. There are several countries in this region where the level of violence, criminally organized violence by gangs, are threatening the very foundations of the state. We will not have that in Jamaica as long as I am your Prime Minister.
Please remember to subscribe, like, share,